I want to thank you for joining us today for our Influencers Unscripted panel for Texworld. And we've got two wonderful influencers who have amazing careers that will really be able to help you understand if you're a designer, how to actually work with influencers, what the what are the best practices, what are the expectations, and we're gonna really be able to help you plan how to use influencers to your brand's advantage. Okay, let me get this finished up on Facebook. It'll just take one more minute. Go ahead and start sharing in the chat box if you'd like, who you are and what the name of your business is. And you're welcome to share any links, especially our special guests today. We'd love you to put your Instagram, anything like that, in the chat. Okay, and I'm just about ready. It looks like we've got everything on. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start moving our attendees over live in just a moment. But first I want to introduce, I want to thank Kat Schuler and Del Noel for joining us today. Kat and Del are from our mastermind group that we run every Friday at 1 p.m. We did it right through the pandemic, the first week of the pandemic. We started it, well, not first week of the pandemic, first week of the quarantine in New York City. And we are starting next Friday at 1 p.m. We're starting with our first official mastermind of 2021. So you want to say hello, Del?
Sure. Thank you, Melissa. I'm so honored and thankful to be part of the mastermind group of Fashion Mingle. And I am, to let everyone know, I'm Del Noel, the CEO and founder of True Model Management in New York City. We represent all types of models. So anything you need with models or photographers, stylists, feel free to reach out, DM me, put something in the chat box. And also collaborating with another Fashion Mingle member and mastermind to have PR and virtual events and live events to activate influencers and build some social media content. And we have a photo studio on West 37th Street. We have a collaborative space. So anyone who would like to connect, I can give you more information. There's lots to talk about today, so I don't want to hog up the time, but feel free to reach out.
Great. Thanks, Joelle. And how are you doing, Kat?
I'm fine. I'm just so happy to be always with my Mingle family. It always makes me feel good to kind of connect with everyone. And I'm trying to figure out what's happening with Fashion Week. I need a crystal ball.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to make plans and we're, is it on? Is it off? We don't know. So we're going to I have a company that I'm the curator for called High Tech Moda and Regen Runway. So I think we're going to do a show at the New Yorker Hotel. It's going to have to be COVID compliant and all that. So I'm kind of going through all that, gathering designers. We have all the models lined up. And so, with any luck, we'll be able to do something for February. That at least it's the designers will be happy and the models will feel kind of on track with being with a fashion week of some sort. So it's it's kind of just a really fragmented kind of time right now. We're all feeling, what's going to happen with 2021. And I'm just really in an exploratory and free thinking, out of the box kind of mode. I came up with 2 ideas that I never thought I would think of, today. So I just have to stay in touch with my creativity and, really hash out possibilities, because it's not about a rule book and a manual that we're following anymore. So I'm always happy to think out of the box. with anyone
We
and what they
appreciate that. We know
need.
that's one reason we love having you involved with Fashion Mingle, Kat, is you've always got new ideas, and so we're excited to have you. So I want to let everybody know how the process is going to work. We will have everybody you have the ability to ask questions in the chat, but if you would like to talk to everybody like our expert panelists here, we need you to turn on your video. So if you want to just ask a quick question in chat, I'll monitor it and direct it to the best person, or any of our experts can jump in. But if you'd like to ask a question directly, you will just turn on your video, and then there's also a little hand icon that you can click that will tell me that you have a question. So let's get to our special guests today. We've got two amazing influencers. Olga, I'll let you start. Would you introduce yourself?
My name is Olga Ferrara, and I'm New York-based fashion influencer, stylist, editor, and fashion lover, you can say. So yes, I work with a lot of different fashion brands, also lifestyle brands, to promote them, to explore more possibilities with the brand, for the brands to have them more audience, and really truly show product that I love myself.
Wonderful.
So mostly I do.
And Olga actually worked with us during Times Square Fashion Week and attended the first event to be held in Times Square during the pandemic. And Olga was there, and she looked absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, it was amazing experience. Thank you so much for having me there. And I know we got featured on in Vogue Taiwan, I think. No, sorry, Vogue Hong Kong.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Amazing. Fantastic. Our other special guest is influencer Joanna Faith Williams. Welcome, Joanna.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here. I'm also New York City based. I live in Manhattan, Lower Manhattan, and if any of you are familiar with that area in the neighborhood. So I'm originally from North Carolina, in case you can't hear it. And so I love being able to bring the southern like perspective on like New York City, more like the polished look. I love playing with different jewelry, and I love playing with makeup. Super interested in like skincare, different designs, like different designers, discovering new brands and trends. So I share what I'm interested in and what I love with my growing audience. And so across Instagram, Pinterest, my blog. Also Like to Know It, if you're familiar with that platform. So it's just been really exciting to be in New York City, where I can take advantage of the events that are happening and different networking opportunities to both not only grow my brand, but also be able to give my audience more of what they're going to really enjoy. So many of the best are here, and some of the best opportunities to meet others who are growing and making a real name for themselves across the country. Such as opportunities like this. I don't know if I would have had the opportunity to if I wasn't here to have gotten to network with many of you before. So I'm really excited to be here and to hear what you are doing and how you are considering using influencers in your future marketing strategies.
Wonderful. Well, Fashion Mingle has had a chance to work with influencers with some of our clients over the years. And then we've also got quite a few influencers in the panel, and this influencers unscripted topic is something that we've done a couple of times because we think it's really important that people understand how best to work with influencers, so that when you do want to do a project with an influencer, that you really understand how to set it up in the most advantageous way, what kind of fees to expect, or how to figure out what the fees should be. So it's a new area, and it's not cut and dry. So Joanna, could you tell us how many years have you considered yourself an influencer?
I'm even hesitant to use the word now. I really like the word content creator, but I guess in the amount of years that I've started to like build that relationship with my audience, where I know that I've like built that trusted voice, I would say it's been about 3 or 4 now, and so it's been cool. And you know, I think the word influencer, it's kind of like a sacred word, right? Because anybody can call themselves that, but it's really about the level of trust that you've built with the audience. And so that's what I really both pride myself on and prioritize. So I'd say that level of prioritization has definitely escalated in the last about 4 years.
Okay. So you feel like the last 4 years you've really built your business to where you're a trusted source for your followers. How many years did it take you to get to that point?
It's a great question. I would say almost just about 3 or 4 before that, because that's when I was still trying to figure out what is my style, what's my style of photography, and finding photographers that I could trust, and you know, learning what my voice is in writing, and stuff like that. So definitely has been a process, and it will continue to be a process as I continue to grow too.
And how many followers do you have on Instagram now?
Right now I'm sitting at 12.7 thousand.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's really great. And so could you tell us a little bit about what do you think the main things that your audience, like what do they engage with most on your feed?
Yeah, so within my feed, I'd say that they definitely love to see the outfits that I'm wearing, like towards like events and stuff like that. That's definitely where I see a lot of like questions coming in and really excited sounding comments. And so I love to be able to and on vacations and stuff like that. So I've been able to work with like some smaller designers or smaller boutiques who I'm able to say like, hey, I'm going to this event or I'm going to this location, and I'd love to be able to wear your clothes.
Hold on, just Olga's got a ring coming in there, so we'll give her a minute. And then so you said that your audience really likes to engage with events. Is most of your audience in New York City?
Most of them are actually still Southern. I've seen the New York audience growing, definitely. So that's been exciting. I want to keep that New York audience, that demographic growing more as I see myself staying in New York for many more years. So it's cool to kind of see that balance change as since I've moved here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's get over to Olga, and pretty much the same questions there. Go ahead and unmute yourself if you don't mind. Yeah, because I can't do it from my side, Olga. Can you hit the unmute button? Can you hear me? Hold on a second. Having trouble getting it unmuted. She was unmuted a few minutes ago. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So, so Olga, you are also based in New York City. How long have you been building up your brand as an influencer?
Yes, I'm based in New York City. New York State. We'll say I live in Brooklyn, work in Dumbo, and also a lot of collaborations, work with designers in the city in Manhattan. I opened my page in 2013. Back then it was fun, really true fun, because I love fashion and always, you know, go crazy about daily outfits, daily looks, and was really posting in my page literally daily selfies, like probably many people did. And then at some point I realized that I really, really love it, and I want to be my passion to grow as a business as well. So I took it to a different level and start investing in beautiful photo shoots, editorial, publishing, doing interesting collaboration with different designers, trying different styles, and just explore. And of course, travel helped a lot too. I got good paid collaborations with airlines and hotels that also make me think that, oh wow, so I have something that people want to see and I would love to share more. So that's what became my passion, became business when I started working with different PR agency as well, and show ability myself, how I can present the brand, what I can do for brand more as well. In my practice, I can see that brands need more than just Instagram post. I'll work a little different with the brands. I also helping them to be publishing in different websites, so they have more exposure, and trying to work with, for example, I have partners in Paris as well. So we do help our brands who are based in New York to show their collection in Paris as well. So it's helpful because it's worldwide, and especially now we can see on, it has to be on virtual, it has to be online, and everybody wants to have like a worldwide exposure, not only New York or like Europe. So this is very helpful for brands as well, I can see. And well, everything possible, and also like you guys mentioned before, live events now limited. So we used to also do a lot live showroom events to bring different designers and show their beautiful designs, also where you can touch them, you can try them on. It's always good to see in person for us. So this one we're also working on. In this situation now, we're trying to find a way how we can do it, even in this, restriction, with these old restrictions. We're still trying. Some of the events we're trying to do in Spring Studios, very helpful. They are really good and helpful in this matter. So we're trying any way possible now to kind of, I will say, adapt to situation and continue what we love to do. Because the COVID did not change us. It changed the possibilities where we used to have before. So that's why we have to adapt and work towards to our goals. And also what I would love to say to you, as I can see brands growing, they understand now that they have to invest money in beautiful website. It's like must have now, and it has to be, of course, very easy to use. So clients will go there and they have no problem to see the product, and almost will say like 3D now, and can see how it looks and buy it then. So we're working on that as well too. And
yeah, I saw that you had mentioned web design as part of the services. Do you actually do the web design yourself, or do you have a team that you work with?
Yes, I have a team that I work with in Paris, actually. That's, okay. They're very, very interesting. And also we have web designer, we have a photographer, we have a stylist as well, and been published in a really big magazine as well. And working towards this, and brands are happy to use and make website look different, stand out. You have to bring attention to client, so somehow, and make it professional, also beautiful, and stand out from others. So we can help with that too, and as well as PR too. They can help with showing brands around the world, especially in Paris. So we are waiting for fashion weeks, but the same thing like Kat was mentioned before, it's probably going to be virtual again in February, March. So we're hoping for live events in September, October. So that'll be like, probably looks like hopefully going to be live events as well. But we're working digitally now, and we actually even did curated FaceTime photo shoots from Paris photographer. They were making mood boards for the designer, and we were making a photo shoot accordingly, and have a photographer here to do pictures as well. So we're trying to figure out how to work. That's just, I think the more give us restriction, the creative we become.
Right. Well, and you brought up a good point about the image of the brand and the importance of having a good website. That's kind of one of the sticklers with me as well. I know that I'd love for both of you guys talk about how you actually choose who you want to work with. because the brand have the right image in order for you to agree to work with them, and having a professionally built website, having professional photography, professional models. I know all of that plays into that decision. Joanna, could you tell us about kind of like what your criteria is for deciding if you're going to work with a brand that's approached you? Oh, unmute, please.
Thank you. First, I would say, I need to love what they have. I need to love like what the products are and the whole line. Secondary then is, what are the brand's values? That really matters to me. I want to know that especially now where consumers are so much more in tune with wanting to support brands that align with their own values and morals, especially with a lot of the really horrible things that are happening in our country right now. I only want to promote things that are truly positive and truly contributing to a community, to the community. So those are definitely the top two things that I look for. And then I want to know, when I'm speaking with the team, are they friendly and are they professional, and how do they treat the other people who are within their team? It definitely speaks volumes. And so that definitely, I would say, is like what jumps out to me first.
Interesting. And Olga, how about you?
Yes, of course, the first thing I have to like, I have to get, it has to be my style, my look. And the first thing I always see if I will buy myself, like for example, brands would like to do a collaboration. It's like would like to give the piece. So for me, first I have to see if I really like it. If I really buy myself, then I will work with the brand for sure. Because I want to keep my page unique, me personally, my style. And that's what about the Instagram, because like John was mentioning before, everybody can call their self-influencer, and you know, having a cool look, it's not everything. And also, of course, sustainable fashion now, we talk about a lot about that. And there is different kind of sustainability out there and fashion. It's very hard to call fashion in general sustainable, because how we know there's so many new collection coming out, so you cannot call it sustainable. For me, it's different. Sustainable means that the piece made from good material, that made very well, that you will wear it for a couple seasons, and you also, how we say now, we can upscale it. So meaning that you can add something to this, for example, a jacket or a blouse, and make it look different. So you want to keep this piece. You don't want to just get rid of it after like one season wearing it. And you know, with that sustainability comes price. Price is going to be higher, obviously, and that's, we have to work on that as well, to show our, you know, audience that it doesn't have to have 10 like dresses. You can have 1 or 2 different looks, different designs, and it's all you need. And then you can invest money something, another one, some like nice beautiful jacket. So it's like, I think in some point we see that fashion become a little bit too much in general. There is coming up so many new collections that people got lost on it. And I remember like sometimes the girls asking me like, but how can you keep up with all the fashion, with all new I don't know, with new design coming out every couple months? It's like literally impossible. And I always say, like, you have to actually feel it. You have to understand that you cannot buy every new collection that comes out. So you just have to choose as well. There's nothing wrong to be choosy. So that's why I work with the brands, the same thing. I choose them, I like them. And of course, we have our personal relationship as well. We talk, we discuss, we meet if it's possible, and yeah, and start working. And the same thing, I'm always gonna look at their page of their website and see how they present themselves, what they're looking for, and if I can provide it. So then I say, yeah, you know, the same thing.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we have a question from Jennifer Koch. Jennifer wants to know, because she's a small brand, she can't afford to offer compensation that big companies do. So how should she reach out to influencers and pitch something that's going to be a win-win for both of you? Joanna, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So what comes to mind for me, I remember also starting out with even smaller numbers. I also wanted to know, like, how can I work with brands, even if I don't even want them to pay me, at that stage, and I think that there are so many people who want to be able to grow with brands. And I think that those long-term relationships are so valuable. At the stage that I am now, and then of course beyond, I've been blessed where I've been able to work with brands on paid basis. And so when I think of a brand that might be smaller, or designer who's on a smaller scale now, what I think of is, how can you build a relationship with that influencer so that you can grow along with them? One way that comes to mind for that is, I don't know if monthly mailings is within the budget, but something like that, or maybe quarterly, every other month type of thing. Not only does that make the influencer feel valued, if they can't get that monetary transaction, but it makes them feel okay, you're investing in them in that way. In the same way that we need to see commercials multiple times for messages to hit us, so do our audiences. And so that not only helps the influencer feel like they're being invested in and valued by the brand, but it also gives the audience that many more chances to say, oh yeah, she keeps posting about that, or they keep posting about that. I am really loving this brand. I love everything that I'm seeing from her posts about this. So I really feel like that's also that's a win-win-win. All three parties here are getting the value that they need, and having that continued message hit the user, which is ultimately what we want, right? We want that message to stick and the names to stick. So that's what comes to mind from my end. Yeah.
Awesome. How about you, Olga? Can you give us some examples of some brands that you've worked with that's been compensated in a way other than monetary?
Yes, of course, sure. The same thing like Jonas mentioned before, especially working with the smaller brands, we also understand that, of course, there is a money limited there, and trying to promote the brand with the products if you really love and you would love to do it. So yes, I work with this amazing brand. They make mostly handbags that calls House of Want. And we do a lot of collaboration with exchange of product. So I do love myself, beautiful bags they make. And the same thing, I will say I would love to buy it, right? So for me, I don't have to buy it. So I work with them with exchange of product, and every new collection I have already in my possession, every bag I want. And for me, it works for them as well. So they appreciate this connection. And like John also mentioned, it's very important to have a long-term relationship because followers also will see you, for example, have a photo shoot with other dress and you have this bag again. So they know you really love it. And the same daily outfit. I love doing this in the morning, going to whatever, my day plan. I take pictures or take quick video and show details and show them, by the way, this bag looks good with this and it's comfortable on the shoulder, or something like specific things, because our audience very like those little details. Sometimes in the picture, in the post, you can say that. So I like to remind it and show daily, so people see it truly that I really love this brand. And we're working for, for example, more than a year now, and every time I have opportunity to publish about them as well, because they also two women who owns the brand. I support, all women support women, business owners. It's very, very personalized thing with every brand. When you start working, you see it. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes the brand expects from you something different. That happens too, I can say something's happened, but sometimes they're like, well, no, it's not what we thought, or it's not our audience, or whatever reason there. Or some brands really have certain amount of money of campaign, let's see, for a month or two, and they're done after this. So there's so many different variations of working with influencers and the way to promote them. So I'm very flexible, and the same thing like John said, if you really love the brand, if you will buy yourself, you will find a way to help each other. That's my motto, kind of, to be helpful each other.
That's
it just
yeah, that's so wonderful to hear what you guys say, because it's not to, obviously to both of you, it's not about making money, it's about promoting what you love. And so I think that that's important for brands to understand, especially nowadays with, you know, we've got such a crowded field, you know, how brands are able to get in front of the public is really changing because we don't have pop-ups, you know, like we used to, and there's not as many opportunities. We're not having fashion shows like we used to. So, you know, what I would recommend for brands before you start, you know, reaching out to influencers is that you know, like Olga said, you have a really great website, you have really good photography, you're using professional models, and we'll talk to Dale about that in a moment. But also make sure you're telling your story, because like what Joanna and Olga both mentioned is how important it is to them that they are working with a brand that they really love. And so many of our designers now that are coming up are very passionate about sustainability or about, you know, doing good in the world. So don't be afraid to tell your story. And in fact, actually next Friday on the 22nd, our first mastermind is with a storytelling coach. So we'd really recommend that you you attend that one, because then you'll be able to really hear from her exactly how to go about telling your story on your website, but also through social media. Let's get, since we're talking about models, let's get Dale in here to share with us. Just, you know, I know that a lot of your models are also influencers. So tell us about how that world works, and then also how important it is for the designers to use professional models instead of their girlfriends and their cousin, etc.
Yeah, so well, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in the business of the influencers, and many of the models have really honed in on that because they realize what a voice they have through these platforms. And we take it a step further. We've now, I actually haven't told Melissa and Fashion Mingle about it yet, but we've started as of this month collaborating with other influencers and agencies that have influencers to pool our talent. So we have many more to pick from, everything from the micro influencers, which are very popular nowadays, to the celebrities. So hopefully you can find anything you need now. And basically something that's so important throughout everything we're talking about is to be authentic. And you don't just want someone that's hired, like Olga and Joanna were saying, they have to love the product. So we always want it to be authentic. We like to work with models and influencers who have a passion about giving back to the community, and also always being ultra professional. The analytics that go on behind the scenes, you can see some influencers have many followers, but then their engagement is low and they're not really interacting and not becoming like friends with everyone online. The ones we found that, you know, we may have one model who has maybe 10,000 to 20,000, which is more in the micro influencer area, and they are getting thousands of people responding and hundreds of comments, and they're really having a conversation and talking, and everything that person likes, the numbers are just phenomenal. And then others who could have hundreds of thousands, and you see they get, you know, 50 people commenting on there. So you really have to go through with a fine-tooth comb and working with the professionals. This is what they're studying and day in and day out, and working with the numbers, because it is a numbers game as well. And now with the algorithms changing every day, it's really hard to keep up. So if you're not working with people that do this every day as their career, you can be spinning your wheels a lot. And it might seem costly in the beginning, but usually the return on investment is what we've heard worth it. So, and the professional pictures, as Melissa said, even if, you know, because at True Model Management, we represent all types of models. So we have many real people models, and that's becoming more and more popular. But if the quality of the photos looks professional, the lighting is right, you've got all the details, it doesn't have to, in the end, it doesn't look like you put so much effort into it, but they have subtle little things that might be eye-catching, that's placed in the right spot on the screen. So just, we try to take out the trial and error for you. So when you post it, you know, you've got a winner.
Yeah. It's, you know, that I see that on websites. My background is actually in web development, so it's always just cringe factor for me when I go to a brand's website, you know, and obviously it's generally a startup brand that hasn't invested in the photography or hasn't invested in models. So I really do, you know, implore you to create some budget for that. Because if you do want to work with influencers, they're going to, you know, want to send people to a very professional website, and that's just part of running a professional business. JC Dubach asks, what's the best approach to finding influencers that represent your brand? I can definitely say that, you know, that is definitely hard work, finding the right influencers. We just did a campaign for Hong Kong Trade Development Council last fall, where they had designers in Hong Kong that they wanted their content, you know, from their virtual fashion shows you know, they had like specific criteria for what kind of influencers they wanted, and we had to find them, and it was, you know, it's hard to do that. So Olga, could you give us some like, are there any tips you can give people to help them better hone in exactly on how to find the influencers that would be best for their particular brand?
Yes, sure. I think the first thing that brand has to do is look at the page of influencer, right? If they see, for example, some influencer they like, and they go scroll down and see what brand they're working with, what they're trying to say with their page. And also, well, I use, for example, I know some brands usually look on top hashtags as well, because the most important for brands to bring them up. So the more visibility, more people will see the brand. So usually, yes, I know like some of my friends, designers, they go on, for example, New York Fashion Week or New York influencer, and just look on the top hashtag and see which influencer can bring their post, their product to top, and they start, you know, connecting with them. And I think this is for them also very important. To look at this, of course, style, of course, different, I will say different approach, depends how they want to work. It depends what they expect in the post, like a long-term, short-term, it's all like in details, probably discussion, but a lot of PR agency have a list of influencers they worked in past, and they also can obviously share information with them and show the past brands they was working with and what outcomes. And so this is all, I think it's for each brand, it's all separate, I will say, probably approach. It's not easy to kind of say sometimes, like I know influencer working only, for example, choosing vegan product or vegan food, or I mean, there's a many different things that brand is looking from influencer. So they have to be kind of clear with that, and then they will find something. Also, you can try, because you never know. So this also another thing with sometimes it can lead to seeing this brand, some other I will say followers from different country, and something comes up with that. I had this actually opportunity like this. I worked with a brand from South Korea, and they actually got their product selling in LA now, California. We got them in showroom in LA, so it's pretty cool. You never know. So that's why I don't know. It's really interesting, and I think it's also work in process all the time. You have to do your research. You can also Google it, literally saying the best influencer in New York City if you want to promote your product in New York, or best influencer USA now, what's the ratings. So there's a lot of things that can be helpful to find a brand, the right influencer.
Wonderful. Hey, Joanna, can you give us some, give everybody some ideas of like what are red flags when you're trying to find influencers to work with? What should, people look out for that would maybe help them figure out this isn't someone that they should work with?
That's a great question. Yeah. So like just some things help you weed out some that maybe are not going to be good for you. Generally speaking, it totally depends on sometimes like the size of their following and stuff like that. But just first thing that comes to mind, generally speaking, the average engagement on Instagram has, from my research, slightly decreased from, it used to be around like 3%. From my research, I'm understanding that now it's anywhere from like 1 to 3%, but certainly if an engagement rate is below 1%, I think that is just something to be aware of. That said, if it's somebody with 1 million followers, 1% of people engaging with it is still a lot. 1% of 1 million is still a lot. But it does show perhaps how many of the followers that Instagram is showing it to. Many times reach is much different than what the actual following is, for better or for worse. Or it can be that people don't like that content. So maybe they are seeing it, but they're not engaging with it because they just don't like it. They're going to keep scrolling. So I would say that other red flags to me are, look at their posting frequency. So if they haven't posted in a while, or if they post sparingly, I can't say how much influence that they would have, unless, they're super active on their stories. Just as an example, I know there's been times that I've had to take major breaks from posting because of like personal life things, but I still stay very active on stories. And so that's been really cool to build that engagement there. Also is look at the style of their photos. Does their brand match what your brand is? Because if it's someone who maybe likes your clothes, but their brand isn't really a good fit for what you're looking for, then you can keep scrolling as well. And then lastly, I would say look at the quality of the comments. So if it's a bunch of, oh, this is so cute, or just very super general, sorry, it's okay. If it's all super general all the time, then that is also a red flag. That said, sometimes I'll comment and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love this. But if you're seeing that as every single comment on every post, there may be something going on there. Maybe it's not the most genuine or authentic audience. Those are kind of
still a problem on Instagram.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of it.
Are bots still a problem on Instagram?
I think so, and I don't think they'll go away. But I think that with the knowledge that bots do exist and understanding how they look and how they behave, that gives us the power, really, because if you know what to look for, then hopefully you won't be taken advantage of. Also, I think that influencers know that brands are so much more aware of bots that they really are fighting to have their true authentic followers comment. We want that benefits us, right? So like if the people who really like the content that I'm producing keep commenting, then I'll know that Instagram will continue showing them that showing them my future content, I know that then I can start building that relationship with them, and then I'm truly building trust. So to me, I'd much rather have that than a bunch of bots that just inflate numbers but have no value or no authenticity. I know people who have unfortunately used them, not people that I'm close with, but I just know of. And it's unfortunate, but I think it's fraud. So I think that that's also something you can get a feel for when you're engaging with the influencer as the brand, you know, talking with them, ask them questions about their audience, like who does make up your audience and stuff like that. And if they're able to answer it easily, then I think you're in the safe zone. If they maybe beat around the bush a little and can't tell you even general numbers about different demographics and stuff like that, that isn't always a red flag, but it's something that is kind of like, you know, take your foot off the gas a little bit, because maybe that's not going to be the best fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you mentioned with the replies that people are getting, you know, there might just be like the same reply over and over, or there might just be some emojis over and over. That's kind of like a signal that there could be bots on that account, right?
And so sometimes it can be that it's on that account, but also there are just the people who spam hashtags and will put that on every post that has recently used that hashtag and stuff like that. So what I personally do is whenever I see that, I immediately delete it, because I'd much rather have fewer comments than comments that are not authentic or could ever make me look as if, I never want to come across as if I'm trying to benefit from anything like that. But yeah, you know, sometimes it does happen, because like I said, there can be a bot that like attacks a hashtag and whatever.
Well, and even someone, I mean, I have to say I've been guilty of this, like, you know, Fashion Mingle members that I want to support on Instagram, but I'm like too lazy to type out a comment. I'll do the little icon. So I apologize for doing that probably too often.
But to me, the icons that stick out as fake, it's usually when people do like the pow emoji 3 times, or like just random things. And when that, in addition to their handle, looks a little funky, it's like, all right, that's easy. Or if you click on their account and then the commenter has like nothing on their page really, then it's worth not paying attention to. But yeah, I mean, I definitely, when I'm going through, sometimes all I want to put is just a flame emoji if I think someone's really serving it. But you know, depending on like what I'm doing. But, and like I said, you know, I've also posted the comment of like, I really love this, whereas some bot may say that, or like, I love this shirt, whatever, you know what I mean? But there's a difference when you click my name and when you see my name, it's not random letters strung together or like a fake account and stuff like that. It's a balance, but I think the more that you're on Instagram, I think if you're a brand, you should be, and you want to engage with Instagram influencers, then you need to be on Instagram a lot, and then you'll kind of get in tune with what those red flags are and what looks natural and what doesn't.
Okay, gotcha. Olga, let's talk expectations. You know, you are, you know, it sounds like your business model is definitely tracking more toward like a PR agency, because you're providing these other additional services. And one thing I hear a lot, and we had a question in the chat about it, is people say, well, I paid an influencer, you know, to do a post XYZ. I didn't get any sales from it. And, you know, I think we really need to talk about what influencer marketing really is. Sure, there's the you know, brands that can sell all day long through influencer marketing, but we also have to think of influencer marketing it's not advertising and sales, it's really more PR. To get your brand out there and to get some brand awareness. So Olga, tell us how to set our expectations for what these influencer campaigns are going to produce for a brand.
Yes, I always have this discussion with brands before we start working together. We have to be clear, because influencer is not sales persons. They're not gonna take your product and tomorrow, like you have a one post and all of a sudden you become famous and all your product sells. No, it's not gonna happen. Like you was mentioned before, big brands use big audience for influencers, will say Prada, Dolce & Gabbana, whatever big brands. they'll say sell because they are selling anyway. They already people know them. What we helping to promote new brands and literally show that our audience what is this brand about, who they are, and what they produce and what they want to sell. So it's not that easy. That looks like even they hire 10 influencers. That it's also not guaranteed that the product will get visibility, right visibility. And again, small brands are made for specific, I will say, audience, specific clientele. I work with a lot of different brands, and they sometimes asking to sell to any person, but it's kind of impossible. We all know the very specific designs that not everybody like. So it's not like sweatpants or something that people need. To sell in luxury, smaller brand, it's always possibility that people will not like it, or we didn't get the specific audience that we need for this brand. Of course, that's why it was good things before with the showrooms, inviting people who really are into smaller brands and loving uniqueness of smaller brands. Because like we all know that, even I was talking with the big buyers, they're always looking for brands that unfortunately look like big brands, like kinda, if it's their sweater with like a stripes look like Gucci, the people will buy it instead of buying original piece from designer they don't know. So there's a like very slight confrontation, I will say, and I'm always trying to explain small brand that we're trying everything possible we can do in our power to show brand around, to show other PRs, to show on publication. So then when you Google the brand, you will see the magazines they were published, or the influencer was wearing it, or some event was going on, or getting images, you name it. So we trying everything possible. But again, the brands have clear, they know, they're supposed to be clear that it's not going to be tomorrow sales, like crazy sales. Or like sometimes when I promote the brand, a luxury brand, and it's, obviously price is not cheap, people write DMs to me and saying, well, but we really like this brand, but you know what, we don't like price. So like, and me trying to, of course, explain that it's a smaller brand and they make quality product, the price not going to be cheap in any case. And a lot of brands now, they do made to measure product that will take 2 weeks to 3 weeks to make a garment. And the same thing, my clients asking me, well, potential clients asking, well, we don't want to wait. We want to have it tomorrow, like deliver it to us tomorrow. There's a lot of audience spoiled with Amazon product that's come to your door tomorrow. And so we're trying to, get our audience that we love that product. Very specific, and it's not going to be overnight. It's my experience, I see it. But again, there's opportunities that, like I was saying before, that Korean brand got noticed and sales very good now in LA. So who will knew, and they came here to New York and have fashion show, runway fashion show, and then they got we got connect them with the LA showroom, and then they sell now very good. So you never know. That's, I guess you just have to keep trying until you find something that really satisfies you.
Yeah, there's so many different things that go into whether or not someone's going to give you their money. That is a very hard thing to figure out, that formula. And so what I would suggest before you start working with an influencer is make sure you have your digital marketing strategy in place. You need to have, an email capture on your website. So if sends them over to your website, And that even if they don't want to buy right then, you could get their email address so that you could keep reminding them about your brand. So what kind of offer can you do 10% on your off? I mean, you can go to any of your favorite brands that are large companies and you can see how they do it. I mean, just see what they put in their email capture on the homepage. Sign up for it. What is the do you get a thank you message, a confirmation that you're to check your email? What does the email look like in the that you're actually getting? What is it saying about how to use this discount? And then you need to remember that as you build this email list, you're going to need to email them about once a month, ideally, to tell them about any specials you have, any, especially something around a holiday like Valentine's Day, or maybe you've got some, things that would be perfect for a 4th of July picnic, that kind of thing. Think about, useful email campaigns that you can run continuously. And you can check out on our Facebook Live, our Facebook videos page, we have the digital marketing video from yesterday where we talk a lot about how to set up these different types of digital marketing strategies. It's really important to set them up correctly. So, and we've only got a couple more minutes. Joanna, could you talk to us about what people should expect to pay to work with an influencer? I know I read one time that like a general number is like $1 per 100 followers, but tell me how you figure out how to what to charge a brand.
Yeah, great question. I think that it's going to depend on the size of them, of course, naturally, but also what are the deliverables? What are you asking of them? Also, how do you plan to use the content afterwards? I know that, if I create something, I need to know, is this brand planning to use it to post on their platforms? Is the brand going to be using this to use in their digital ad campaigns or on their social media advertisements and stuff like that? I think what I do, this is how I kind of go about it, is I talk with the brand first. What are they looking for? And then I ask them, what is your budget? At this point in my career, I'm able to be flexible. I think that what you said, the $1 per 100, I haven't heard that one before, but I like that, I think. I would say like 100 per every 10,000, generally speaking. But I know that also when it, I think it can really depend too on like what products are you going to give them? Kind of like what Olga touched on. It's like, do you, with the handbags that she's mentioned, like I also have a designer that has sent me handbags and I'm not going to make her pay me. I love them. And, if she offered, of course, like that would be great. But, I think it's going to be on a case by case basis. I know like with this handbag person that I've worked with before, I've used her things to go on trips, like showcase it in trip footage. I've just lost my train of thought.
Well, how about as well, like the deliverables? Because there's a lot of different kinds of promotions you can do. There's like, tell us all the different types that a designer or brand should ask you about, because there's stories, there's a feed. Give us an overview.
Totally, exactly. Yep. So definitely your Instagram feed, that I would say is going to be more expensive. Generally speaking, that one maybe when you would invest more in just because it was going to last there longer. But also always speak with your influencers about what your expectation is for how long it will stay there. Because sometimes people can post it, take the money and delete it within a month. Hopefully they've made the content so hopefully they take pride in the content they create and they think it's a wonderful picture that they want to keep on their feed, but you never know. And so I would say a minimum of at least 3 months, 6 months ish. That, and then I would say stories, which of course that lifetime is about, or is 24 hours, unless then you also have them request or pay them to save that as an Instagram story highlight. Beyond that would be your blog post or Pinterest coverage. Pins can go viral very easily. Your Pinterest, your Facebook, the blog post length, I would say, is like very important to discuss. Because what you may think of as a blog post, another person may, think, oh, I'm just gonna make this super short or lower. And then also the world that I've been getting, like diving deeper into, is with Like to Know It. So just as an example, if any of you are working with a platform that others can like post about what they're using on it, I know that like many brands, just using this as an example, will pay people then to post on their Like to Know It, even like as exclusive content, which I think is really cool to take as a idea, not just for Like to Know It platform, but on other pages as well. Like, what can you make exclusive for these followers, or exclusive for that influencer's newsletter list, things like that. So just be creative, because in every way that you're trying to reach your audience or your customer, also the influencer may have those same marketing channels as well to reach their audience. So I think it's good to be creative. And, I think the mainstream thing that you think of is, sponsor an Instagram post. But there's ways to be creative. And I think that's also a way that you can work with influencers, even when you don't have the biggest budget. So you can say, here, I'll send you this. Like, can you share this on, maybe another platform or another product feature that's within different social media landscapes.
Cool. And yeah, so our final question, kind of in the same vein, Olga, Diana's got a question about a contract. Do you actually have a contract with every one of the brands that you work with? Who is responsible for the contract? Is it the brand or is it the influencer? And and then what kind of deliverables should a brand ask for?
Okay, sure. There is, in a contract, it's always two sides, influencer and the brand, of course. The influencer must comply with all items that brand asking them, if they agree, of course. And I always have a two-part of the contract, reading before, if something I don't like, I always do mark it, send back to brand, and we discuss it, remove it or not, and make it flexible as well, working for both sides. The same thing like John was mentioning about the terms. It's very important, because very good to work for both actually influencer and brand on long terms. Like I said before, and mentioned that your follower will see that you truly love this brand and you're not just another influencer who wants to just make money. So that's very important, I think. When we do simple collaboration with exchange of product, usually don't sign any contracts. It's always kind of things about recording on emails. It's also actually a legal document if you exchange emails with the collaboration without signing contract, meaning just the exchange of product, and you have, let's see, one bag, one post, 3 stories. You wrote it in an email that says okay, and you do this, it's also fine. And the same thing brand will expect from you, only that what you promise. So there's for me it was been very simple. And with the bigger contracts, like I was working with Lenovo, and I was working with airline company, yeah, that's different story. There is a contract like 7 pages. You have to sometimes even have a lawyer look it up, so make sure all your rights is saved and nobody is trying to do anything harmful to each other. So, but most likely fashion brands, they have a smaller contracts when they literally asking you to give them this service. And the same thing, like if I have extra for them to, for example, I will say we have our promotion going on publishing with the publishing, so we can do that. And to addition to that is going to be this and this and this. So you also always can mention and tell the brand something different, like Joanne was mentioned before, that you have a certain uniqueness of your services. So it's very important, I think, as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we've got, so we're a little bit over. So I appreciate Olga and Joanna's time. We don't want to take advantage of that any longer. Definitely go to fashionmingle.com and sign up as a member. It's free to join the community, and you will get notified about our storyteller mastermind that's going to be next Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. I think it's a really important topic to start the year off with, so that you can actually incorporate storytelling into your marketing right from the beginning. Thank you, Olga and Joanna, so much. It was amazing information. If anybody came in late and would like to see the full video, they can go to our Facebook page and it'll be live there. And then we'll also have a blog article out in the next week or so. So everybody have a great rest of the day. And I want to say thank you to Dale and Kat for joining us as well.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Looking forward to connecting.
Thank you so much.
Tomorrow we'll be on talking about production at 2:30 Eastern.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa. Bye.
Thank you, Joanna.
Bye to you all. Bye.
Everybody.